15 years ago, my partner and I fled suburbia, carrying just our newborn baby in one hand and our cat in the other, like a crippled, brain-damaged cat, but for sure a cat. We fled to the cheapest place in America, which is the American Bible Belt. And we moved into a tent, a round tent called a yurt, made of wood and canvas. We don't have electricity, but we do have sitting together and watching our son take his first steps. We don't have plumbing, but we do have sitting together and listening to our son's first word. Towards the end of the second year, in the tent, in the woods, the snow begins to fall. It falls, and at first it's so charming, and we have Vince Giraldi on the boombox, and the wood stove is perking away. And then towards the end of the second week, we run out of lamp oil, which means we can't read, and there's nothing in the world to do in the woods in the American Bible Belt if you have a baby in the tiny yurt where you live except read after dark. Towards the end of the third week, we run out of propane gas, which is not actually a big deal, because all we have left to eat are carton after carton after carton of black bean salsa couscous mix. I don't know if you've ever had this stuff. You add boiling water, which we could make on the wood stove, and you stir it up into a kind of sort of 1984 dystopian slurry, and then you choke it down day after day, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, while you're breastfeeding a toddler. And then the end of the fourth week. And by the end of the fourth week, we're not like Jack Nicholson in The Shining. We're just like clinically depressed. And the snow stops. So we run to the car and we drive half an hour to the nearest town. And we go to the grocery store, get propane gas, library, and then it begins to snow again, of course. So we get back in the car and trudge back to the yurt. I put on an audiobook for our son, and Todd is hooking up the propane gas because, by God, he's going to make something for dinner that does not have black beans or salsa or couscous in it. And I am filling the lamp oil when outside we hear a terrible sound. And Todd says, "That's a bear." And I think we all wonder who we're going to be when the zombie apocalypse happens. Are we going to be the person with the shotgun who is explaining to everybody how to survive? Or are we going to be the person who's like, "What's wrong with that lady?" And then we go outside and we immediately get it. And I always thought I was, for sure, the second kind of person, but Todd says that's a bear, and I spring into action. I pull down all the shades on our tent, and then I go to the door. Now, even though it's a tent, we have a wooden door with a little like bathroom lock on it, so I lock the bathroom lock, and I demand that everybody sit and be silent in the middle of the yurt, because I feel like if the bear can't see us and the bear can't hear us, we are completely safe. Todd and I are sitting there and our hands are shaking like leaves. Our 2-year-old, meanwhile, is like, "Is there a bear?" And we're like, "Shh, please be quiet, please be quiet." And then we hear a new sound. Roar! It's our cat. Not just our cat, but our crippled, brain-damaged cat who cannot get away from a 2-year-old, much less a bear. And I get my imaginary shotgun and I say, "I have to save the cat," and I stand up and Todd catches my arm and he says, "Sage, you have a son now. You have to think of him." So I sit down and I listen. And it is the longest 3 minutes of my life. And in the horrible silence that follows, there's a new sound. It's the sound of the boombox changing sides on the tape. And I know the next thing we're going to hear is hello and welcome to the Children's Audiobook Hour. And the bear is going to hear, and he's going to come and he's going to rip down the walls of the tent. He's going to eat Todd, and then he's going to eat me, and then he'll eat the baby like a panna cotta plump dessert. And so I rush over and I hit stop on the boombox, and here's what we all hear. Rah! And so I hit play again, and we all hear, rah! We learned so much living in a yurt in the woods, but mostly we learned that if your batteries are really, really cold and you play an audiobook, it sounds just like a bear is outside eating your cat. So the next morning dawns bright. The sky is blue, and the ground is sparkling with snow. My son runs outside, and he starts running in a big circle, and he says, "Mama, I'm shining." And he is shining. And pretty soon after that, 9/11 happens. And just like every other American hippie, we swagger around saying, if the Republicans get any worse, we're totally moving to Canada. But we already escaped suburbia. And that gives us the courage to come here. And it is the socialist utopian paradise we knew it was going to be. But I wonder if one day, when my son is an old man with a big grizzled mountain man beard, a kid like you is going to come right up to him and say, "Hey, mister, you were in America before 9/11. What was it like?" So he comes from the southern part of Canada. And my son will say, "We all lived in the woods."